leaders whose kindness is above average and can sometimes be a target for those who want to take advantage of others. That is this week what I'm talking about primarily in my article. And I don't normally say like you got to read this, but I'm saying you want to read this because it's really good and it's chock full of additional links. I'll put them down below. Maybe that'll help, but I'm telling you, it all rolls together nicely in there. Within the neurodiverse community, particularly in the community that works with and supports neurodiverse, it is a known fact that it is common for neurodiverse people with ADHD, autism, and dyslexia to be more understanding, potentially compassionate, and more trustworthy than the average person. It is also a fact that in business, some of the greatest leaders, and actually a majority of the greatest leaders, it turns out, are also high givers, high compassionate, high gifted in empathy and those types of things, leaders. And one of the roles in that is the fact being a high giver, which I'll get into that term in a minute, means that you also might be more susceptible to people that are of a black hat energy and goal, which means they are seeking only their own advancement, their own best interests, those types of things. So that's what I talk about in this article. I get really clear and crisp about what that looks like. I define out some things. I talk about Adam Grant's book, Give and Take, which he goes into detail. Hang on, let me grab it. Things are always better with a visual. So here's the book that I was talking about from Adam Grant. And in here, he talks about givers and he talks about takers. And givers are individuals who prefer to contribute more than they receive. They focus on helping others without expecting anything in return. In the workplace, they're often generous with their time, knowledge, and support, driven by a desire to elevate those around them. Takers aim to get more than they give. They prioritize their own interest and often seek to gain advantage, sometimes at the expense of others. Takers tend to be self-promoting and protective, believing that success comes from outperforming others. This contrast is the center of Grant's thesis in his book. While takers may rise quickly, so we'll observe them rising quickly, it's often givers, especially strategic givers. So you need to learn about this if you are a kinder, more compassionate leader. It is those strategic ones who achieve lasting success and build meaningful relationships. So that's what this article is about. We talk a little bit more about that. I talk about how it weaves into leadership and how it also weaves into being neurodiverse and work environments. There's some terms that you need to know. Narcissist is someone who exhibits an inflated sense of self-importance, craves excess admiration, and often lacks empathy for others. This behavior can be part of a personality trait or even severe cases in clinical condition known as narcissistic personality disorder. I will give you a hint. If you are neurodiverse and watching this, you possibly communicate with others that you have a neurodiversity. I think a little differently. My spelling isn't maybe the greatest, or sometimes I switch subjects quickly, right? You'll self-identify quite often. Yeah, that's not a taker style. I'm just going to be really clear. They are not aware that they have NPD. If they do, they're not aware that's how they dance in the world. They are just aware that they need to get what they need to get when they need to get it. And if you are in the way of that, or if you can at all be an advantage for them to take advantage of, yeah, you're it. And they will do those things. So one of the biggest misnomers is we're waiting for somebody to tell us that they're a taker and that they're going to take advantage of us. They're not. They're not going to self-identify. That's not going to be part of it at all. Another term that's important to know, and I give some examples in there of these things. Gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation where someone causes another person to doubt their own perceptions, memories, or sanity. I would put an and on that. It's often used to gain control or avoid accountability by distorting and distracting from reality. I give a great example of that. Gaslighting can happen in personal relationships, in workplaces, and even just in public discourse. If you are a giver and you have not learned enough about this, both of these terms you need to understand, not to be paranoid of or not to be super protective of, to have awareness, to ask more questions, and to seek additional advice. People will take advantage of the fact that you trust what they say and question yourself first, not them. They count on that. One last term I want to talk about is called self-gaslighting. This is something I stumbled on while having a conversation with AI, actually. It said this, I went, oh my goodness, this is very real. And I'm going to talk about it actually in my next week's article. This is when someone is being gaslit, and it causes you, the person being gaslit, to question your own perceptions, memories, skills, abilities, thoughts, instincts, or sanity. Your own internal dialogue starts to question your decisions and choices in real time. And this is what truly erodes someone's self-confidence and ability to fight back. It becomes a very mentally unhealthy loop that can be hard to get out of. I explore that actually in another article, like I said. So check that out. What can you do? You're like, okay, wow, you told me. Now what do I do? Number one, you need to ask for help. That is going to be the toughest thing you've ever done. You need to ask for help. And in particular, you need to ask for the support, guidance, and skills of those that you actually truly love and love you. And you know you can trust them, and other people who have been through this experience. I promise you, many people watched me going through some of these experiences and loved me, but did not have the experience to give me healthy, good, sound advice because they had never experienced anything quite like this. And it is not, you don't treat it like you treat most things. It's there's a process to this. And number two is you need to learn things. You need to watch some videos. In this day and age, you can easily watch videos, take workshops, hire a coach. You can do things, use AI, take the emotions out of things and clarify. Learn some things. You will thank yourself later. So also another link in there. I recently found an incredible Mel Robbins and Jefferson Fisher conversation that they had, one of her podcasts recently. Really good, where Jefferson Fisher talks out and lays out how to respond to some of this stuff, because and I would tell you, watch it and practice saying those things in a mirror so that if you are in one of those situations right now, you can use those tools right away and you can start to take back some of your power and confidence and value. I also recently posted a step-by-step way to quickly, like in a moment, gain some confidence and some self-worth, little process and worksheet. So if this resonates with you, if you are listening to this and going, oh man, I could stand to learn some more about that, I could really use some help in some of those situations, I get it. I understand. I would love to hear about it. Please feel free to comment, reach out to me, send a voicemail, send a video, any way that communicating works best for you. But I would love to hear your journey through some of this, some of the things that you have done to improve your muscle around trusting people and trusting the right people and knowing how to extract the ones that aren't trustworthy and don't belong in your atmosphere. I'm Joy Gina, coaching the unconventional leaders and the international neurodiversity community as a whole. Thank you so much for checking in with me, for listening. I look so forward to meeting you, and please tune in, like, and follow. Bye.